Let me ask you something. Have you ever stood at the edge of a difficult moment and thought, why is this happening to me? We all have. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? They understand that pain isn't a punishment. It's preparation. It's preparation. Mental strength isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally intelligent. It's not about being fearless. It's about walking forward despite the fear. Mental strength is built, not born. This is one of the most powerful truths we often overlook. Many people believe that some individuals are simply born tougher, more disciplined, or more resilient. But the reality is, mental strength is not something you inherit. It's something you develop through experience, choice, and consistent effort. Think about a muscle. No one is born with a strong, defined body. It takes time in the gym, repetition, and resistance to build that strength. The same goes for your mind. You don't become mentally strong by accident. You become mentally strong by facing challenges, pushing through discomfort, and choosing growth, even when it hurts. Every time life tests you, through failure, rejection, disappointment, or loss, you are given a choice. You can collapse, complain, and retreat. Or you can confront it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Those who choose the second path again and again begin to build something unshakable inside them. Not because they enjoy pain, but because they understand that pain is part of the process. Mentally strong people aren't always confident. They often feel fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But they've trained themselves to not let those emotions control their actions. They've built habits like discipline, gratitude, patience, and self-reflection that keep them grounded. They respond rather than react. They pause instead of panic. They keep going even when progress feels invisible. This kind of strength doesn't show up overnight. It takes saying no to comfort and yes to growth, again and again. It takes honesty with yourself. It takes asking hard questions. Why did I fail? What can I change? How can I grow from this? It also requires letting go of perfection. Mentally strong people don't aim to never fall. They aim to always rise. They accept that setbacks are part of the journey, and they don't let those moments define them. Instead, they use them as fuel. So the next time you admire someone's mental toughness, don't assume they were born that way. Remember, you're seeing the result of years of struggle, reflection, and intentional growth. They weren't given that strength, they built it. And so can you. Purpose fuels perseverance. Perseverance. It is the driving force that keeps people moving forward when everything around them says to stop. When life becomes difficult, when the road gets uncertain, and when motivation fades, it is purpose that lights the path. It gives meaning to the struggle and a reason to endure. People who have a strong sense of purpose are not immune to pain or failure. They feel the weight of disappointment, frustration, and fatigue like everyone else. But they don't give up, because they are not just working for a paycheck, a title, or applause. They are working for something deeper, something that matters to them on a personal level. This inner clarity becomes their fuel. It pushes them forward not because the journey is easy, but because it is worth it. Without purpose, effort feels empty. When challenges appear, it's easy to ask, why am I even doing this? That question, if unanswered, becomes the seed of quitting. Right? But when you know your why, every step, no matter how painful, has meaning. The long nights, the setbacks, the rejection, all of it becomes part of a bigger story. You no longer see failure as the end, but as part of the process. Purpose turns ordinary actions into acts of intention. A student doesn't just study for grades. They study to build a future that aligns with their dreams. An athlete doesn't just train to win. They train to prove what's possible. A parent doesn't just work to survive. They work to provide a better life for their children. In each case, purpose becomes the anchor that holds firm during storms. Perseverance is not simply stubbornness. It's the quiet strength that says, this is hard, but I'm not done. And that strength is almost always rooted in a sense of purpose. It's what makes people get back up when they fall. It's what helps them block out noise, ignore criticism, and stay focused when everything is chaotic. Quizzed when everything is chaotic. People who persevere are often not the most talented or the most lucky. They are simply the ones who know why they started and who refuse to let go of that reason. Purpose gives them direction, energy, and resilience. It gives them something to fight for when nothing else makes sense. Courage is action despite fear. It's not the absence of fear, and it's certainly not about feeling confident all the time. It's about moving forward, even when your heart is racing, your hands are shaking, and your mind is filled with doubt. Courage begins the moment you decide that what you're fighting for is greater than what you're afraid of. Fear is a natural response. It's the mind's way of protecting us from danger, uncertainty, or failure. But when fear becomes the reason we stop ourselves, it robs us of growth, opportunity, and potential. That's where courage steps in. It doesn't erase fear. It simply chooses not to be controlled by it. The most courageous people are not those who feel fearless, but those who act even when they feel afraid. They stand on stages with trembling voices. They speak the truth when it's unpopular. They take risks knowing they might fail. They walk into unknown situations not because they are certain, but because they believe it's necessary. That belief, that something is worth the risk, is what courage is built on. Courage can be loud, like a public stand, or quiet, like choosing to heal. It can look like chasing a dream others laugh at, or saying no when everyone expects a yes. Sometimes courage is just getting out of bed on a hard day, or admitting you need help. It doesn't always come with applause. Often it happens in silence, unnoticed by the world, but powerful all the same. What separates those who stay stuck from those who break through is not how afraid they are. It's what they do with that fear. Do they let it shut them down? Or do they use it as a signal that something meaningful is at stake? Because fear often shows up when we're on the edge of growth. And courage is what gets us across that edge. Every act of courage builds strength. Each time you do something scared, you expand your limits. You prove to yourself that fear doesn't define you. And over time, you stop waiting for fear to disappear. You learn to walk with it, speak through it, and act anyway. And that is the essence of courage. Not freedom from fear, but freedom through action in the presence of it. Emotional intelligence is greater than emotional suppression. It's not about hiding how you feel or pretending you're unaffected. It's about recognizing your emotions, understanding them, and choosing how to respond instead of simply reacting. People often believe that strength means showing no emotion at all, but true strength comes from managing emotions wisely, not burying them. Suppressing emotions might seem like control, but it's often fear in disguise. When you bottle up what you feel, it doesn't disappear, it builds up. Anger turns into resentment, sadness becomes numbness, and stress transforms into burnout. Eventually, it spills over in ways you can't control. Emotional intelligence, on the other hand, helps you process what you feel before it reaches that point. Being emotionally intelligent means being honest with yourself. It's knowing when you're overwhelmed, when you need a break, and when something deeper is bothering you. It's not weakness to say, "I'm not okay." It's courage. It's also the ability to listen when someone else says it. Emotional intelligence creates connection, understanding, and trust. Suppression builds walls, distance, and silence. This skill matters everywhere, in leadership, relationships, and daily life. A leader who suppresses emotion may appear strong, but one who leads with emotional awareness inspires others. A parent who teaches their child to stay strong by hiding feelings may mean well, but a parent who says, "It's okay to cry, let's talk about it," teaches resilience. In friendships, in teams, even within yourself, emotional intelligence makes space for growth. Suppression, on the other hand, makes people feel unseen and unheard. You can feel something deeply and still choose a thoughtful response. That's what makes emotional intelligence powerful. It doesn't mean you act on every emotion. It means you don't ignore them either. You pause, you reflect, and you act with intention. People who master emotional intelligence are not emotionless. They are emotionally fluent. They speak the language of empathy. They recognize patterns in their own behavior. They admit mistakes. They ask better questions, listen without judgment, and know how to regulate themselves even in tough situations. That doesn't come from shutting down. It comes from tuning in. Emotional intelligence allows you to be both human and wise. It helps you navigate life with clarity and compassion, while emotional suppression leaves you stuck in silence, pretending everything's fine when it's not. Discipline beats comfort. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but it rarely leads to progress. That's key. Discipline, on the other hand, is what creates lasting results. It's the quiet decision to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when the bed feels warm, saying no to distractions when they're tempting, and staying focused when your mind wants to drift. Comfort is about now. Discipline is about who you want to become. Every goal, dream, or transformation begins with action, and discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. People often wait for motivation, but motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Discipline stays. It doesn't rely on mood. It's a decision backed by commitment. When you build discipline, you train yourself to lead with your values, not your feelings. Comfort is easy. That's why so many people settle there. It tells you to relax, take the shortcut, scroll a little longer, or quit when it gets hard. But nothing great grows in comfort. Growth lives in challenge and resistance, in showing up day after day when no one is watching. Discipline may feel like sacrifice in the moment, but it becomes freedom in the long run. Freedom to be healthy, successful, and proud of who you are. Disciplined people are not superhuman. They face the same temptations and fatigue as everyone else. The difference is they've trained their minds to prioritize the long term over the instant. They've learned that consistency matters more than intensity. They don't need perfect days. They just need to keep showing up. Discipline creates identity. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you prove you are reliable, focused, and committed. That builds self-respect. Comfort may offer temporary pleasure, but it often leads to regret. Discipline is tough, but it leads to confidence, pride, and real progress. Success in any area, whether it's health, career, relationships, or mindset, requires doing the hard things repeatedly. That's discipline. It's not glamorous, often boring, but it works. Comfort whispers lies. It tells you tomorrow will be better, easier, or the right time. Easier or the right time. But discipline tells the truth. The only way to change your life is to take action, especially when it's hard. Calm is power. It's the quiet strength that doesn't need to shout, the steady presence that stands firm when everything else is falling apart. In a world that rewards speed, noise, and reaction, calmness is often misunderstood as passivity. But true calm is not weakness. It's control. It's the ability to stay grounded while others panic, to think clearly under pressure, and to respond with intention rather than emotion. People often confuse being loud or aggressive with being strong. But the strongest person in the room is usually the one who doesn't need to prove anything. They listen more than they speak. They don't let outside chaos dictate their internal peace. That's real power. It's the power to pause, to reflect, and to choose your response when every part of you wants to react. Calm people are not free from stress or challenges. They experience fear, anger, frustration, and disappointment like everyone else. The difference is they don't let those emotions take over. They've developed the discipline to breathe through discomfort, to observe without judgment, and to act from a place of clarity rather than confusion. Calmness gives you the upper hand, not because you control others, but because you control yourself. In difficult situations, calm is what brings stability. It allows leaders to make wise decisions. It helps parents comfort their children. It enables partners to resolve conflict instead of escalating it. When emotions run high, calm becomes the anchor that keeps things from drifting into chaos. It's what helps people see the bigger picture when others are stuck in the moment. Calm is not silence. It's awareness. It's knowing what's worth your energy and what's not. It's being present in the moment without being consumed by it. It's resisting the urge to react to every trigger, to fight every battle, or to prove every point. Sometimes the most powerful move is to stay still and let the noise pass. This kind of strength doesn't come from pretending nothing bothers you. It comes from developing emotional resilience, learning to sit with discomfort, and trusting yourself to handle whatever comes. When you are calm, you are in control. You are in control, not of the world, but of your own mind. And that is the most powerful place to be. So the next time life pushes you to your limits, pause, breathe, and remember, you were not made to break. You were made to rise. Mental strength isn't about being perfect, fearless, or emotionless. It's about choosing purpose over excuses, courage over fear, discipline over comfort, and calm over chaos. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the strength to take the next step, and then another, and then another, and then another.